Hey, you over there, for 450 bucks, I want to show you how to build a gaming PC.
And you have a chance to win one of these as well if you don't want to build it yourself, but we're going to show you step by step how to build it if you want to after a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Corsair. Today we have their beautiful new RX series fans, which are a part of the fast-growing IQ Link ecosystem to easily be able to link all your fans together with one cable, making building and cable management a breeze. And the best part about these fans is they are now a budget-friendly way to get into the IQ Link ecosystem. With a wide range of options from non-RGB to 140 and 120mm fan packs, there's bound to be a perfect option for your PC build. We recently had our first try at building with the IQ Link system and made a video on it on the channel and thoroughly enjoyed the experience, and the final result looks absolutely amazing. Big thanks again to Corsair for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into it, shall we?
For the CPU, we have the Ryzen 5 4500. This CPU has 6 cores and 12 threads. It's actually a pretty decent CPU, but it does have some limitations, such as the fact that it can only be used in Gen 3, so we do recommend using a Gen 3 graphics card for the best performance. And it does come with a stock cooler that will actually work pretty well. And we only paid 77 bucks for this, which is one of the reasons we picked it. For the motherboard, we have the ASrock B550m HDV coming in at $74. This is one of the cheapest B550s that you can buy, and it is pretty basic. It does only have 2 RAM slots and just one 4-pin for the CPU, but that does not mean it doesn't support an upgrade path. It has Gen 4, so you could put something like a 5600X in this in the future to have a pretty awesome rig. Coming in at $35, we have some TeamGroup RAM. This is 16 gigs at 3200 megahertz. It is dual channel, as you can see. The Vulkan Z lineup, it's actually some pretty cheap RAM, and we just got the silver. We can get it in a couple different colors as well. And then for $34, we have this TeamGroup 512 gig NVMe SSD. We really like using these because we've had pretty good reliability out of them. Since it's NVMe, you do have slightly faster speeds than your traditional SSD, and the fact that it's so cheap, it's just a no-brainer.
Now we have a very special treat. Aisurix is back, and this is the RX 5500, and this is kind of how this build is so cheap yet has good performance. The RX 5500 is a PCI 4.0 x 8 card. While yes, we are running a Gen 3 only CPU, it being a x 8X card means it won't have the same detrimental limitations like the RX 6500 XT, so you should still get solid performance. So I'm excited to see this pairing, and this graphics card can be had for $139 on Amazon new with Prime shipping. And for the power supply, this is a really awesome one. This is the Mag A550BN, 550 watts, 80 plus bronze, more than enough power for this PC build. You definitely don't need 550 watts for this build. It's not gonna pull that much power, but honestly, for rooms for upgrade in the future, and because the price is pretty fair at $49, you can't beat it. And in case we know and love and actually haven't used in a while, so we had to go back to it. This is the Sama Q5, which is a micro ATX case with a ton of RGB pre-installed. We have, well, 3 RGB fans, good ventilation, and at $50 is an absolute deal, especially for those who want RGB on a budget. Now, what we're gonna go ahead and do is show you guys how to prep the motherboard, get the RAM, CPU, storage installed, then I'm gonna show you how to put the power supply in the case, put everything together, and then we're gonna game on it and show you guys for $450 what this PC can do.
All right, guys, we're gonna start off with my favorite step, installing the CPU. So this is an AM4 CPU, so it does have pins on the chip, so you gotta be careful. I like to grab it by the sides like that. You're gonna have a tiny little arrow that you're going to line up. So show Jonah here, we're gonna go ahead and get this latch up like that. Keep it in the 90-degree position. There's an arrow here that we're going to line up with on the motherboard. And you're gonna just gently drop that down. You really shouldn't have to apply any real force. Sometimes the pins aren't like perfectly lined up, so you might need to add just a little bit of push to it. And as long as it goes in with that resistance, you should be good to go. And now that we're on the topic of the CPU, we need something to cool it. You can't just turn this thing on, contrary to some people's beliefs. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is take off these stock brackets. We are going to need the mounting plate, so make sure you hang on to that. And I normally like to face the logo this way, just because, especially if you have 4 sticks of RAM, that logo will typically block it. Take the cable and do something like this, just because I think it's a little cleaner. You're basically just going to line up all of your screws like so, and you want to do the opposite corner technique. So go ahead and get one screw kind of started, go to the opposite corner, stab your motherboard. Go ahead and do the other ones that you haven't started yet. So this one will go ahead and just go all the way down on. And they will stop themselves, so you really can't mess this step up. Make sure our cable is still loose, because if it was tight or something, that might mean you pinched it between the CPU and the cooler. And we're gonna go ahead and take this, plug it into CPU fan 1 just like that. It can really only go in one way like many things you'll see today. And you can even take your extra slack, kind of do something like this, and look how clean that looks, guys. The next step is going to be the RAM. So this step's pretty easy because we only have 2 RAM slots and we only have 2 sticks of RAM. So this is DDR4 RAM. It's not compatible with other styles of RAM like DDR5, so it can only go in one way, and the way I just had it was the wrong way. So we'll go ahead and do the slot furthest away so Jonah can really see it. God, that one was tough. Yeah, sometimes you gotta really push down on these sticks of RAM to go in. You wanna make sure too that when you push the RAM in, that it goes in on its own and clicks by itself, because if it doesn't, there's a good chance it's not seated all the way. We got RAM installed. So for the NVMe SSD, we already have a riser installed right here, which we're gonna need, and that's how we mount it. And then we're just gonna need this tiny little M.2 screw that comes in here. So we're gonna go ahead and install this. It has a notch, just like the RAM, you can only put it in one way. And then you're just gonna go, it's a little crooked, like that. So we're gonna need to get this one screw out. Now these screws are like the one thing in the build that normally you can use a PH2 for like the whole computer building process. These are PH1, or you can even get away with like a PH0. It's basically a really small Phillips. And not super tight, just literally hand tight, and then you're good to go. But now we have a completed motherboard that is basically ready to put into the case, but first we're gonna do a couple things to get the case ready.
As you see, that didn't take very long to get going. We're gonna go ahead and get the case ready to go. What we need to do is take off the back panel. God dang it, it's too tight. Sama does that, that's what they do. So we'll go ahead and unscrew this, and make sure you don't lose your screws. I always like to put them back in the case so they don't get lost, because that tends to happen. Okay, so as you see right here, Sama is, well, it's a budget case. You know, they very interestingly left all these cables like out of it. It looks kind of a mess. We're gonna fix that real quick before we get everything in there. Really, it's just pulling these cables back through. So I'm gonna pull these cables through. Just kind of show you guys this cable mess. Jax will show you in cable management. There's this hub right here where all the fans plug up. This just needs to be organized a little bit better. And all this is fine. We'll just hide all that. We're good there. And now we got to install the power supply into the case. The power supply goes right here, as you can see. And here's our power supply. This is the MSI Mag power supply. We're gonna go ahead and undo all these cables right here. It might look kind of scary because there's a lot of cables, but don't worry. We'll show you which ones you need and which ones you don't. I can't find where the twist tie starts. I'm doing that. Boom. Here's all your cables. Now we're going to take our power supply fan facing down. We're going to slide it in, but first we might need to move some of these other cables out of the way, actually. These things are in the way. We don't need you there. Pull that out. Move these out of the way. And we're going to take our power supply again, fan side facing down. We're going to go ahead and slide it on in. And I'm going to come to the other side to show the camera what it looks like on the back. Go ahead and slide this power supply in. And as you guys can see, we have screw holes lining up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need to use the power supply screws, which did come with the power supply. They're still in the box, actually. Here they are. In this little bag, we have coarse threaded power supply screws. I'm going to take them out and show you guys what they look like so you get an idea, because there are different screws you need to use in this build. You don't want to confuse the screws, because sometimes it'll strip out your mounts and you'll have some problems there. I'm also going to be putting the power cord in the box so you don't lose it. So we're going to take our screwdriver. We are currently on, let me switch to PH2, or PH1. Very simple. Cool. Just like that, your power supply is installed. Now, before we put the case back down and install the motherboard, I want to be sure to grab out this nice little box right here, which, shout out to Sama for organizing your screws. We had a case company, I won't name them, that had another one of these, and they basically put all the screws into one of these compartments and didn't actually separate them. Kind of goofy in my opinion, but $50 case, they organize stuff for you. It's pretty nice. Can't install the motherboard just yet. We need to lay down the case and install our I/O shield, which comes with the motherboard. This little guy right here. Go ahead and take it out of the bag and install the I/O shield right here. I'll turn the case so Jonah can see. So basically you want the audio ports to be on the right side from Jonah's perspective on this I/O shield cutout. So we'll go ahead and line it up and push in each corner. This can be kind of difficult sometimes, especially in these budget cases. The cutouts aren't the best, but once you push it all the way through, don't do that. Honestly, you're never gonna do that. I don't know why I did it. You're going to push in all the sides. And yeah, that's in there good. So we're gonna go ahead and take our motherboard now, and we're gonna inspect for extra standoffs, which is important. These standoffs right here are what the motherboard screws down into. And sometimes there can be extra ones where there are not holes on the motherboard, which can lead to shorting out the board. But I think we're actually good. Let's see. So go ahead and line it up. Make sure this fan cable up here doesn't get tucked underneath the motherboard. That can happen. And also check the back of your I/O to make sure everything went through properly. But, ooh, it looks like, yes, we do have an extra one. You see this one at the bottom right here? that one's gonna need to get moved up. But good news is we have all the other standoffs in there, so we don't necessarily need to add any, we just need to move one up, which you can use, Sama, you think of everything. This tool right here, $50 case, man, it's crazy. So that's what that tool looks like. Basically, it's hollowed out in the middle, so you can put it over one of the standoffs, put it on a screwdriver, and unscrew it. So now we have our standoff right there, and we're just gonna move it up one. Make sure this is nice and secure because sometimes these will come with screws if you decide to take the motherboard out in the future. So go ahead, again, drop in the motherboard. Just following the same steps, making sure everything's lined up. Push it until it lines up on this little nub. And as you can see, we're insecure. And now we have to screw in all of our screws. We have one up here, 2 here, and then 2 here, which are gonna be using our fine threaded screws, which if you look in here, it's actually labeled as the, well, you can't really see them in here, but these are the fine threaded screws. Whoa! So it does say motherboard and SSD screws. I love how that happened. That was actually kind of cool. Here's a motherboard screw, and let me just compare it to one of the other screws. There you go. Boom. You know what? That was an ad for LTT screwdrivers. We were just talking about it. We need some sort of commission program for this because that was just like a perfect ad to show you how awesome the magnets are in this thing. So we're going to take the fine threaded screw and screw in the motherboard from all the screw holes we showed you before. And as you can see, guys, the motherboard is now screwed in. And look at that, we are almost ready to do some gaming. We just gotta get everything plugged up, which might look a little complicated, but it's not too hard. Jackson and I will show you guys how to do it. And then we'll be installing Windows and we'll be ready to play some games on this PC.
All right, guys, it is that time to run some cables. So starting off, I'm gonna hand mat the front panel connectors. So we're gonna put that through, what do you think, here?
Either one's fine, we'll do this one. Yeah. So as you can see, they're coming out right here. And now McAllister is gonna show you a diagram on screen. You better do it, McAllister. We're gonna start with the hard drive LED in the bottom left. Right above it, we're gonna do the power LED, positive and negative. Positive to the left, negative to the right. All you positive. Then power switch right across from the power LED. And boom, the front panel is plugged in. That is a little bit difficult, guys, so take your time, but once you get that all set up, you're good to go.
The next connector I'm going to be handing over is USB 2. As you can see, it is labeled, but it's also missing a pin on the outermost edge. So I'm going to go ahead and run that through the same spot.
And USB 2 will go right here. So we'll go and flip it around, make sure to line up the missing pin, plug it up, and boom, USB 2 is now installed.
Next up is the HD audio connector. So it's gonna look just like USB 2.0, but as you can see, it is missing a connector a little bit more towards the middle. And that one, I hope, oh, there we go.
There it is, you see it peeking out right there. It's gonna go to the far left where the missing pin lines up with the missing, well, header on the header. Yeah, smile.
The missing header on the pin on the header.
And the pin on the pin head. So there you go, HD audio is now plugged in.
So next up, we're gonna be doing the USB 3. So this is a blue header, and it's really large, so you really can't screw this up. It can only go in one way, and I'm gonna do that right through this cutout here.
Beautiful. And we're gonna go ahead and line up the notch with the notch on the header. Flip her around, plug her in, boom. You're good to go.
So now that we've gotten most of the PCK stuff done, I'm gonna go ahead and do the fun stuff, the power supply. So this is the 24 pin, the main power rail for your motherboard. And I'm gonna do that.
It's like right in the middle, so whichever one.
Here, just to keep it through the same spot.
Same thing, we're gonna line up the clip right here. Line her up, push her in, so you hear a click.
And now while we're on the topic of power supply connectors, this is the CPU 4+4 pin, but this motherboard can only actually take a 4-pin. So you have the choice of trying to leave it together and plug it in and it'll actually look like you're using both, or you can separate them. That's how this power supply works. I'm gonna try to give this to Matt as one piece. See if we can just plug the whole thing in and make it kind of give the illusion of them both plugged in.
Yeah, there you go. It'll keep it nice and clean that way, and you're getting all the power this board can take. So these cables right here, guys, this is totally optional, but just for cable management purposes. They run all the cables through the one little cutout right there, which is fine for the top fans. But the bottom ones, we definitely want to run through the bottom parts. I'm gonna go and put these guys back through for demonstration purposes. Go ahead and send those back through that cutout, and then put these down through here.
Cool, and I will go ahead and get, so yeah, this case is nice. You know, for the price, it's actually true ARGB and a true fan header. So it is gonna be two separate things, get a plug in. I'll go ahead and plug the fan back in. All right, that's fan number 1, fan number 2. right? And then the ARGB connectors. I don't know if my couch is gonna need any of those. Boop. So now we're plugged back into how it was before, which, like we said, that was kind of an optional, just our cleanliness preference step. And I'm just trying to get some of this cable out of the way. So we're gonna power the ARGB hub in just a second, but first I'm gonna go ahead and give Matt the last connector that I need to give him. This is kind of just like a pre-run, if you will. So this right here is the PCIe 6+2 pin, or just PCIe 8 pin if you want to call it that. This power supply comes with 2 of them standard, but we really only need 1. So we'll probably use the this one right here, the thickest one. And we actually have a little cutout.
This case always amazes me for $50. They're doing it right. If we weren't trying to have variety on this channel, we use it for every budget build. Okay, here it comes. Here's that GP power, and then the other one can just stay in the basement with that very handy dandy cutout.
All right, and so then that last little connector I was telling you guys about, which I'm gonna pull this a little closer. So this right here is our RGB hub. If you don't plug this in, you will have no fans spinning, you'll have no RGB. So we're just gonna be using a standard SATA connector. Looks just like this. These can only go on one way. I will say though, you can force them on backwards. Just make sure you line that notch up. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of shove these extra cables in here before Matt plugs in the GPU, just to make it a little easier on myself to cable manage. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it back over here for Matt.
All right guys, GPU time. As you see right here, we have our GPU, the Aisurix card. It is only require, again, that 1 8-pin for power, but we're gonna install the GPU right here, which does require us to take off this cover right here first. So we'll go ahead and take our screwdriver and unscrew this shield, pull it off to the side, and then we'll show you guys the test fit, which be sure, by the way, to take this cover off the golden fingers of your graphics card. We're gonna go ahead and line it up, and it looks like we will need to take the top 2 PCI covers off. So we'll go ahead and get our screwdriver and unscrew the top one. The top one is a non-break off, meaning it does use a screw, which is nice, but it's common in cheaper cases for the other ones to be break off, which means we basically just go through, push it in, wiggle it around, and boom, it's gone. So we're going to take our GPU, line it back up like so, line up the PCI slot and push, and we're installed. We'll take that same screw that we had in the top PCI cover and screw in the top screw. And then Jackson just pulled out another one, yay.
And these do use coarse thread power supply / hard drive screws.
Yes, so same ones we used on the power supply before. And there is more in that little kit too that you got from Sama. So we'll go ahead and screw that in, push this back, screw this down. We'll tighten it with a screwdriver just for good measure. Now we're gonna take this power connector right here, push this extra 2-pin power onto the side. Sometimes it can happen where this is on the wrong side, so if your connector is not going in, don't force it. It should go in pretty easily. Just flip it around to the other side. With this power supply, it is zip tied in place. That shouldn't happen. We'll go ahead and push this off to the side, line it up, push it in, clip, and look at that, your graphics card is installed and everything in this system is plugged in, ready to turn on. But what we're gonna go ahead and do is show you guys some cable management to make this build look nice and clean.
All right, guys, so this is one of my kind of favorite parts of like a budget build, because I find cable management to be pretty easy on these. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just need a lot of zip ties. So I recommend some good quality zip ties like these, just like some good like 6 to 8 inch zip ties, because it'll be a lot easier to do some good runs with them. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of like map out what I'm going for. Okay, so I'm actually going to use a couple of kind of weird spots, like these are SSD mounts technically, where you put your SSD in the back of the build. I'm actually gonna use that to hold my zip ties on, so that in the front, these fan cables aren't as ugly. And pretty much from here, we're just gonna do a few different zip tie runs that you guys can kind of follow along in time-lapse mode. I'd say that checks out. So at this point, we'll see if it actually turns on. Normally we tell people to do that before you cable management, just in case, but
we're confident.
We're just that good. I mean, come on.
All right, so we'll see the final turn on. This light over the way.
Or the final not turn on.
Final not turn on. I feel like it's gonna turn on. Let's go. Yay. Red.
Looks like all of our fans are working. Let's see if I think this should change with, yeah, oh yeah.
The Asama cases come with a bunch of different RGB modes. It is a little limited. If you wanted to get another motherboard and have an ARGB header, you do have that option as well, but you do get the basic colors and an RGB mode. Well, we'll stick with this blue. This blue looks pretty fire.
You like the blue?
Yeah, you can go with anything really with this build because all the parts in this build are very neutral, so you can really go with any color you want. So, hey, let's go ahead, get Windows installed, get some games going, and then let's see how this thing performs. And we'll tell you guys how you have a chance to win one of these computers. Woo!
All right, guys, we're playing Apex. We're playing Apex Legends at 1080p. I'm gonna go ahead and change my settings while we're at it. But we got max FOV. We're going to be. It looks like
it's like a medium low, bro.
Yeah, medium. We're not using any type of like upsampling or upscaling or anything like that.
A little chunky.
Yeah, we're probably still loading in.
Yeah.
We did just launch the game, and you're probably gonna see it with any game we ever play, like Fortnite especially. You always got to give it about 10 minutes before you make your final decision how the game's gonna run.
Especially these budget PCs. Some of these higher end builds, they definitely can load stuff in a lot quicker, and you don't notice the hitching or anything like that. But yeah, this is getting there, especially for a $450 all new parts build. So far, looking pretty solid.
Oh, I'm feeling like a demon.
Demon time, demon time, demon time. Ah, ran out of ammo.
Yeah, activated.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
That was kinda...
Daniel Gong. To get him.
Oh jeez.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
Yes.
What? 9.
Oh, it's this player.
Dong. Dong.
Oh my god.
What?
9? Are you
9?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Long reload. Ah!
Jesus Christ. See, this person I know I can just run at them.
That guy has been getting bullied the entire game.
Yeah, they don't care. Well, Apex, yeah, once we got in and like loaded up like any other good game, it worked out pretty well.
Play the next game. All right, guys. Well, I'm in Fortnite right now, dropping with all the bots, actually. With 1080p, unlimited frame rate, DX12, performance settings. Obviously, when it comes to AMD GPUs, you want to go DX12 and run performance settings instead of performance mode. You normally get the best results that way. And so far, we'll see what happens when we land. But I will say, across the board, we're getting like 90% usage on everything. So we're getting good utilization of the hardware we have.
It's playing the gambling game of bot or demon.
Bot or demon, you never know. Okay, let's see. What do I have here? An AR, nice. Yeah, this is actually, I honestly was expecting more stutter. I'd say the first load-in was very slow, obviously, because we got thrown with the bots at the very end, but this is pretty dang smooth.
Quite playable.
And I was worried that would be the one reason why you wouldn't want to go with this configuration. Oh, there's a little stutter right there. You don't want to go with the configuration like this with the Gen 3 limitation, but it's pretty good.
Whoa. Whoa!
Lexington.
Whoa.
Been there, done that.
Caveman.
Caveman had like nothing.
Go back to where you came from.
Callister, do you believe in the weatherman?
McAllister, is weather just a conspiracy theory made up by the government?
It's happening over there.
Panic?
Wow.
Oh, they came to play. They came to
Oh, they came to play.
Oh, he whipped his
Bone
wings
Crusher.
out.
Whip the wings out. Football player with some wings. Gotta love it. Fortnite ran great. Apex ran great. Honestly, this configuration works really well for an all new parts build. Let's run some other games, see what the limit is of this PC, and then talk about how you can win one of these computers.
Alright guys, we just got done benchmarking this awesome PC. In a minute we will talk about how you could possibly win one of these, but as far as the games go, esports and AAA titles, this 4500, 5500 pairing is actually really good.
For $450 for all new parts, really can't complain. The only thing you do have to be a little bit worried about is those Aisurix cards aren't from a major name brand, so warrantying might be a little hit or miss, but if you don't want to have to deal with that, you can buy one of these at PCBros.tech and we'll give you our 1-year warranty and take care of you if anything goes wrong. But for $450, the performance is really good. good. We tested some other games as well. We got the finals at low settings using FSR. We got 70 plus FPS, and our 3D Mark time spy score wasn't great. It was 4,762, but for the $450 price point, that is 9 cents per point. So overall, all new parts build, not too bad, but you also have a chance to win one, and Jax is going to tell you how.
So May 10th, we will be going live on twitch.tv/toastybros at 11 a.m. We stream for 6 hours. We play all sorts of fun games. We do wheel spins for other prizes such as gift cards, and then we give away this beauty right here. And don't forget, guys, if you missed this one, we do one every single month, typically the second Friday of the month. So I don't want to see any comments about you all saying, oh, I missed the giveaway, because you'll get another one, don't worry.
We're always giving stuff away, so definitely check those links down below to follow our Twitch stream so you don't miss out. If you want to build this yourself, link to the description down below will be affiliate links. They will help us out. Let us know what you think of this $450 PC in the comments down below.
Check out the other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Where's this PC gonna end up at?
PCBros.tech. If you don't want to build one yourself and you don't have a chance to win, maybe your luck is really bad, you can buy one. PCBros.tech, there'll be 4 of them. They'll go quick. See you guys later. Goodbye.
Peace.